YouTube family, this is Pink Dragonfly 9, and I just wanted to provide you guys with an update on how things went for my attendance at the NACA Achieve the Dream event in New York City. So today is June 27th, 2019, and in my last video I told you guys I was going in there completely blind. I didn't meet with a mortgage counselor in advance. It'll be the first time meeting with a mortgage counselor since my workshop in 2018. So I was a little nervous about that. I went and it was an amazing experience. And so just to cut to the point, I did not get qualified for a NACA mortgage to start the next steps. However, I learned a lot, and I'm going to go over some of the things that I was told I need to do for my action plan going forward, and I'm feeling pretty optimistic. So I want to thank you guys, everyone who just left really encouraging comments. Thank you guys for supporting me and cheering me on. I truly appreciated this. So I feel there's a blessing in everything. So again, I went there, I went with my binder, I had scanned everything. I actually brought a few things. I brought a laptop with me. I had scanned the items in advance and uploaded it to the NACA database, but then I also brought a laptop with me with a folder with all the documents that I had scanned, items that I thought might need to be scanned, that didn't have a category. So I had a folder specifically for NACA in the event that I was at the Achieve the Dream event and they asked for those documents. I could whip my laptop out and say, let me upload it right now. So that's what I did. I brought that, I brought my binder. So when I got there, the event started at 8 o'clock. I got there about 7:30. It was still kind of early. There were a good amount of people, but not really. It hadn't gotten really there wasn't a long line or anything. I think there was 4 lines. There was the line for people who had never attended a workshop at all. They just heard about NACA and they are just attending a workshop, and they could go through the whole process the whole day, or they could just do the workshop that day. Then there was a second line for people who attended the workshop, have a NACA ID, however, they need to scan all their documents to the NACA system. So that was the second line. Then the third line, the line that I was on, was the line where you had a NACA ID, you attended the workshop, got your NACA ID, and then you also scanned up all your documents to the NACA database. And so at this point, you just needed to see a mortgage counselor. So that's the line that I was on. So I was maybe 20 to about 20 people, 15 people ahead of me or so for my specific line. And then there was a separate line for people who were hoping to refinance their mortgage or needed some help with their mortgage, whatever was going on, where they needed help in repairing their situation. So those were the categories. And so I went there at 8 o'clock, right before 8 o'clock actually. Bruce Marks greeted everyone and try to, I guess, hype up the crowd. And then once 8 o'clock hit, charge. They let us through, checking our bags and all like that. I walked in. I went to the section where you meet with a mortgage counselor. So we sat in that section. Maybe I waited about 20 minutes or so. It wasn't too long because I had gotten there so early. And I was speaking to the people who were sitting next to me, and it was great because I got to hear their experiences. There was a woman next to me who said her and her husband had been working on this for a while. She said they lived in Jersey, and they went to the last event, I think, was it Newark? Or maybe it was Philadelphia. I don't know. The last event they went to, I think, was in Newark. And she said the reason that they didn't get approved was because they had an overdraft. I'm gonna come back to that. So talking to her, she was like, we weren't sure. We're just kind of she was like, I'm on this line to meet with a mortgage counselor, and my husband's on the other line just to scan any additional documents, just in case, just to, cover all their bases. So I enjoyed talking to her because I was like super helpful. Yeah, she was just a really cool, nice lady. And then there was this other guy who was talking about his experience, and he's just getting started and all like that. And so it was just like, okay, a pick me up. We were just kind of encouraging each other. So then I get called over to a mortgage counselor, and I am greeted with the biggest smile. My mortgage counselor for the day was a woman named Hope. She was from Texas. Now, I'm not going to give her full name because I don't have permission to do that, but her name was Hope. The name was very befitting. And she was like, hi, how are you? Welcome. And I'm like, hi. So I told her, I was like, I try to do as much as I could. Hope that I make your job easy today, but we'll see how it goes. And she's like, no worries, you're fine, you're covered, and then she started asking me questions, just intro questions, and asked me for my ID, just general information. And so while we were going through all my documentation, I said, so I was sitting like next to a lady on the line, and she said that she wasn't accepted, not qualified, because she had an overdraft on one of her accounts. And she's like, yeah, it's not too favorable. And I was like, I had the same situation. I was like, I have two banks that I bank at. I have one that I think I told you guys in the previous video that I only use that for my bills. I don't use that for anything, bills and getting food and stuff. That's like my spend what you spend the money type of account. And then I have my other account, which is Carver Federal Savings Bank, which is a Black-owned bank. I have that bank. I put all my money there and save it there and let that accumulate, especially since I want to invest in a Black-owned bank, and so those monies can be redistributed back to the community. So I'd rather save in that account. And I keep the Chase one to do my everyday banking and whatever, money in and out, especially also because of the convenience, because there's such a large bank. So I said, so I have an overdraft. I lent somebody emergency money earlier this month, and then like the next day it kind of screwed up I didn't want to touch my Carver bank, so it kind of screwed up my like system I have for paying my bills and stuff like that. All I got paid because I just moved the money over or whatever, but I missed the coverage, and so I did get an overdraft. And she was just like, yeah, that might not look too good. She's like, don't worry, we're gonna, by the end of the day, we're gonna have an action plan for you and everything's gonna be good. I was like, she's so sweet. I was like, that's pretty much like, girl, you ain't got no chance in hell. I was like, all right. But she was so positive that I was like, okay, that's not bad. And I went in there, I didn't want to be overly excited, especially if I got my hopes up. I didn't want to get my hopes up, pretty much. So I went in there like, if I don't get approved, it's okay, you try again. So, and then adding to the fact that she was you could tell she is a counselor by nature. So she just was coaching me through it and reassuring me that I was okay and everything was gonna be okay and I'm gonna get through the process. And so she was amazing. I wish all counselors could be like her. And she'd been only working it for a few months, so I hope it stays that way. I hope it stays that way, because she was just, spirit was so good. Yes. So she said, that's not going to look too good, the overdraft thing. She was like, let's go through all the rest of your finances. She ran my credit, the credit report. She was like, your credit looks very good. Especially since I had paid off the car note, and I only had student loans. She was like, okay, so the debt ratio is not too high. That helps. And then she was like, looking at your bank statements, you have a certain amount saved. She was just like, I was like, yeah, I have a little bit saved, but I didn't know how much I was supposed to save in general in advance, because I haven't met with a mortgage counselor yet. You're my first person that I'm meeting with. I have a appointment scheduled with a mortgage counselor in October, but I haven't met with them and they're remote, you know? So she was like, that's fine. She was fine. So we're going to run the numbers. Now, mind you, this took about, I think I met with her for about 2 hours or so. It wasn't too bad. So after combing through my finances, like maybe uploading an item that was not acting right, I was like, it's not me, it's the system. I'm uploading it and it's not uploading right, or it's not uploading at all. She was having the same issue. She ran through all my numbers and she said, all right, so here's the game plan. She was just like, you have a little bit in your savings. That's a good start. She was like, based off of how much you want to get approved for. And now, mind you, when they ask you getting approved for the amount, they're talking about the monthly mortgage, well, housing costs it would be. So that includes the mortgage, that includes taxes, and that includes home insurance, right? So that's how much you're asking for, right? And so I asked for a specific amount, and she said, okay, so in order to do that, you have to get a payment shock of whatever amount that she said, right? And so if you're not familiar, payment shock is whatever you're paying in rent or mortgage right now, the difference between what your ideal mortgage amount would be, that whole sum I told you about, minus what you're already paying. So that would be considered your payment shock. And pretty much the idea of payment shock is to show that you can make that payment every single month. So if they see that the money coming out of the money that you're depositing into your account or being directly deposited into your account covers what it would be if you were, let's say you were going for like $1,000 mortgage loan. So that includes the home insurance and the taxes and all like that. And it was $1,000, but your rent is $500. You have to show that you can add $500 to your account every single month. Hopefully that is easy to understand. Hopefully I explained that very well. So you'd have to show that you can cover the remaining balance of $500 every month. So I was like, I can cover my payment shock. I'm trying to be conservative with how much I'm asking for in terms of versus my income and the debt that I have and what I'm trying to do, right? And so she was like, that's fine. She was like, you could get more, but you know, I understand you want to keep it conservative. I was like, yeah. So I said, I can cover my payment shop every month. No problem. She said, okay, cool. Then she said, based off of the amount that you want to go for every month, this is how much money you would get for a mortgage in total. So that would be like if you're going for a $200,000 house or $300,000 house, like that amount that you provided as your ideal monthly payment for your mortgage, there's an amount in total for over the life of the loan. And so she said, based off of that rubric, this is how much you would need for your minimal required funds, right? So the minimum required funds is pretty much paying for your closing costs, any like miscellaneous items that may need to be covered before you by the time of your closing. And so that's how much you have to have in your bank account in order to get qualified. So I said, okay, that's gonna be it. The next 3 months it's gonna be it's gonna be serious. But I was like, I've done this before. I was working 3 jobs, guys, 3 jobs for like 8-9 months to cover my student loans. I could do this shit. Sorry. Oops. This is an explicit video, by the way. Now it is. I can pay. I can save up enough for my minimal required funds over the next 3 months. So back to Uber if I go. So I could do that. And then she was like, okay, and no overdraft. She said, because you had an overdraft this month, it kind of threw off your application. So she said to show that there are no overdrafts, and then your paperwork her paperwork will look good in terms of the bank statements. I said, okay. So she said, you've got 3 things to do for homework. What are those things? I said, I need to make sure there are no overdrafts on my account. Not just for the next 90 days, ever, ever. And second item, I need to demonstrate my monthly payment shock. She said, I said, and the third thing is I need to save this amount of money for my minimum required funds. And I need to upload my documents every single month. Now, just a side note with that, because I went into this not meeting with a mortgage counselor, not doing any of that stuff, I had no idea that you're supposed to scan in the documents. Each scanned document should be considered for like 1 month. So whether it's the banking statements or, you know, a note you paid for that month or whatever, if you, so like for June, you would upload June statement alone, and then you would upload May statement alone. I went in there and I had uploaded 3 months of statements for all my bills, all my assets and stuff. And she was like, we have to separate this out. She was so patient. I was like, thank you. I was like, I didn't know. I told her exactly what I said in the last video. I was like, when in doubt, print it out and then scan it, right? And she's just like, that's true. That's a good motto. When in doubt, print it out. So she's like, but we just have to separate this out. I said, okay. I said, going forward, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to upload those documents every single month. She said, okay, cool. So that was pretty much it. She told me those things. She gave me pretty much an action plan. And I just got to follow it for the next 3 months. She said, you do those 3 things, you're going to get NACA qualified and continue doing everything else that you were doing up until now. I said, okay, I could do that, you know. So that's where things are at. I'm not sad about it. I'm actually very excited because now I have more guidance on exactly what I need to do. Before I just was kind of like, I don't know, like what's going on? Like, what do I do? Am I doing this right? I had no guidance, like no reference. Someone to say that you're on the right track, or no, girl, you are completely going the wrong path. I had none of that. So this was helpful, and her just good energy and good spirit just made me feel so much better. So I have my action plan. I'm going to be working on that for over the next 3 months. I'm going to keep you guys updated on how things are coming along as I move forward. And for those of you who said you were attending the event this weekend in New York City, Achieve the Dream, good luck. All the best to you guys. Y'all are going to be just fine. And we're going to be all right. We're going to get through this. Like, it's a process, and one step at a time. One step in front of the other. As long as you do that, you will accomplish your goal. Absolutely. So, Hope, the mortgage counselor I had today, I wish I could have her in the future, but she's like, I'm not a remote counselor. I was like, okay. She was like, you already have a remote counselor that's scheduled in October. I was like, all right. She said, her positive energy, she passed that to me. She made me feel good, and she made me feel like it's gonna be okay. Just because the situation didn't happen the way you would have liked to today, it's not a problem. This is not gonna get in your way. You're still gonna accomplish your goal. I was like, you're right. So all I want to do is pass that good energy to you guys. Whatever stage you're in terms of the NACA process, you're going to be just fine. Just keep moving forward. Do all the things that you have to do. Do not give up at all. The only time you fail is when you just give up. You can't fail. You just cannot fail at all. Just keep going at it, you know? And you know what? Even if you say you walk away from this whole program, I can't even say you fail. It's just not, you decide that it's not for you. And there's nothing wrong with that, you know? But I do think that this is a great program. There's no program like it. And I think this is probably the best program out there. So if you're willing to fight through that, you're going to be okay. Everything that was, anything that's great to achieve, it doesn't come easy. It requires a little fight. And through that fight, you really need to come out as more like as a phoenix. You know, you think of the image of the phoenix and the feathers flown out, and just fire and just beautiful, like engaging energy. Like, you will come out even better for it because you got through it, and you will be proud of yourself that you got through it, through the obstacles to accomplish your goal. And that feels really good when you accomplish a goal that, you know, there were some you know, missteps here and there. That feels even better. You're proud of where you're at. So I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing. I'm going to follow my action plan. I am going to one person in the comments was like, continue following Dave Ramsey. I'm like, yes, you're right. I did not forget about Dave Ramsey. I listen to Dave Ramsey every day. I listen to all his videos, all his YouTube videos. I think he's great. I think what he does is great, and I think it works for the average person. It's a great program. So I haven't forgotten about that. I haven't forgotten about my student loans, and they will not let me forget, so it doesn't matter. So I'm gonna get through this process, and then once I accomplish this goal and I get qualified for NACA and I purchase my home and get into my home, that's when I'm going to really gazelle intensive focus on my student loans. Until then, I'm going to work on this. One thing that I will mention that I saw on social media, and I confirmed with the counselor, and I want to bring this up just so you guys know. When I do get NACA approved, I live in New York City. If I was buying real estate in New York City, I'd be considered a priority member. However, because I want to buy real estate in Philadelphia, I am considered a non-priority member. I said, it's cool. So, the mortgage house I met with today, Hope, I said, I heard through the grapevine that there's a new regulation where if you're considered a non-priority member in the area you're trying to purchase, that you can only buy down your interest rate to a certain point. And she was like, where did you hear that from? I was like, I've been doing my research. And she was like, yes, that's true. She was like, this is all new. But yes, if you're a non-priority member, you can only buy your interest rate down to a certain point. She couldn't remember the exact interest rate. I think she said 1.25 is as much far down as you can go. I'd have to check on exactly if that's true, because she was trying to remember from memory. And she was like, I'd have to check that for you. So, but I do know one thing. It's 1 point something. That's the most you can go down. So those like mortgage rates of 0.0625 and all like that does not apply to non-priority members. I mean, maybe back in the day, not anymore. And I think it probably has something to do with the fact that at the end of the day, this program is for a specific group of people, and you want to make sure that all the resources are available for them. And I understand that, and I fully support that. And no matter if you're non-priority member or not, you're still getting an amazing deal. The fact that you can buy down your interest rate that much already when it's under market value, winning. So, not a problem. I get it. And then also, because I'm a non-priority member, I can only buy in certain areas within the city I'm trying to buy that make less than the MSA amount. So I think it's like metropolitan statistical, I don't remember. Anyway, it's pretty much like the average income in that area. The tract TRACT that you're looking at for a particular property, it has to be less than the MSA. for the city that you're looking for. And that is dependent on the address of the property. So you can't even say, oh, I want to buy in this area, so let me I can purchase this because I'm a non-priority member. No, you have to look at a specific address. So those are two conditions when it comes to non-priority. You can only buy interest down to a certain point. Very, very new. So if you're like already done the NACA thing, just to let you know, and you're non-priority member, just let you know that's a thing now. As required. And then you can only buy in a certain area, which I think was already communicated in the NACA booklets that's been around for a little while, I think. So those two conditions, and you know, besides that, it's like it's all right. We keep it moving. We keep it moving. So again, guys, thank you so much. I will continuously keep you guys updated because I got a lot to say. This is not the last time you're gonna see my face. So I keep you guys updated on my progress, and you know, in a few months we gonna see. We gonna be smashing these goals like boom. So for those who are moving forward, or you are at the end of your I guess NACA journey in terms of getting a house and all like that, kudos to you. Keep it up. And for those who are just beginning, kudos for you for even starting. And we're gonna be all right. I love you guys, and peace.